Well, welcome back. And of course, we're constantly monitoring what's happening in the Middle East. It's amazing how the Middle East has become the middle of the world, so to speak. And I'm really honored to have back with us today Rabbi Michael Barclay is back with us, who's the spiritual leader there at the Temple in California. He's also nationally published Torah commentator for the Jewish Journal and the author of Sacred Relationships, Biblical Wisdom for Deepening Our Lives Together. He's also the host of the CRN radio show and podcast Rabbi's Table, Dialogue, Not Debate, where faith, politics, culture, and global headlines meet in an open conversation. And there's a picture of that landing page, which is RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. There's the picture of the landing page. Rabbi Barclay, good to see you again, friend. How are you?
It's good to see you, Perry. Thank you for all that you and your audience do to make the world a better place.
Well, you're the man. Good to see you. So much to talk about. Where do I start with you? What's your take on the Middle East today? What's your 30,000-foot view?
That's another day in paradise. Look, we keep going through the same dance over and over. This cessation, it's not a ceasefire, but this temporary cessation is, let's be honest, a joke. It always has been. Iran is going to keep doing what they're doing. Trump is either going to step up and keep putting pressure and trying to remove the regime, or he's not. He's going to listen to J.D. Vance, who wants to negotiate. He's going to listen to Marco Rubio, who realizes that Iran is an existential danger to Western civilization. And right now, we're just in that pattern, as we've been for the last 3 days, of waiting and holding and seeing what's going to happen. And every day that happens, Iran develops more weapons.
Yeah, I mean, satellite images over the weekend showing that they're rapidly rebuilding what they've lost. How damaged do you think they are at the moment?
I think on the one hand, they were damaged a lot, and on the other hand, we have no idea what's under Pickaxe Mountain. And there's certainly reports from Israel and from U.S. intelligence that even a month and a half ago, they had more weaponry and were closer to finishing a nuclear weapon now in early June than they were a year ago. So I think there's a reason that Bibi Netanyahu got up and is flying to meet with Trump as we speak right now. He's in the air and will be showing different things to Trump and to his advisors. And look, I think President Trump is a brilliant CEO and a brilliant man who listens to advisors. And I think the challenge is he's got advisors on both sides. And one, Rubio's been saying what he's been saying since 2011. He recognizes it. And Vance is more siding with Tucker Carlson and trying to go that route. So I think Trump's got to make up his mind, and hopefully he'll listen to Bibi. And with God's help, we can get rid of this regime and get rid of their dangers.
So the Prime Minister and the President are going to meet probably late today or tomorrow for sure. And did I hear you say that the Prime Minister could be bringing fresh new information to the President to consider?
That's what reports are coming out of Israel over the last weekend, that Bibi is coming to America with fresh intelligence. So that's just the reports coming out of different news sites in Israel. So that's the validity or not validity of it.
You've mentioned, and some other people have mentioned too, the concern of those immediately around the president giving him advice. And so far, every time the president has tried to do something in negotiations, it's failed. Do you think he sees this, or is he really trying to get something through an advisor that may not be accomplishable?
I think Donald Trump, at the end of the day, and I certainly hope, I don't know the man, that there's a level of compassion within him and realizes that anytime there's war, people die. And there's nothing to celebrate in that process.
Right.
He's the consummate deal maker, so he wants to make a deal. The challenge is that President Trump has lived his life based on the idea of peace and prosperity. If I can give you prosperity, you're going to be happy with me having prosperity and we have peace. The real challenge is in dealing with Iran and with these clerics is that they're not motivated by peace and prosperity. And it's an entire upside down type of negotiation. In the West, we believe in mutually assured destruction, that concept kept peace between the US and the Soviet Union for many years. No one wanted to destroy both countries. In Islam, they're happy to destroy themselves if it destroys the kafir, the infidel. And it's upside down for Trump, who is so experienced in the one type of negotiation, but really isn't theologically. It's a big flip. I mean, think about it. Iran is not interested in oil, power, money, or anything else. They're interested in creating a worldwide caliphate as defined by the Quran. It's why I've said for a very long time, to me, Iran is much more dangerous than the Soviet Union and China combined, because they are fanatical and are willing to die for their fanaticism.
Therefore, we don't understand the philosophy, I guess, theology of a death cult, where you're willing to die to kill others.
It's contrary to every Western value.
Yeah.
Think about our nation is built on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, upon the individual relationship that each person has with God. Their theology is based on creating a worldwide caliphate and taking anyone who does not agree with them, and either they need to be enslaved, converted, or killed. That's not something that is in any way, shape, or form in Western civilization's consciousness.
Yeah.
It's not Jewish, it's not Christian, it's not American, and it's entirely foreign. And until we wake up and realize that this is their attitude, we're going to keep getting ourselves in more and more danger. We see it in New York with Bandami, we see it with the jihadi communities in Europe and now in America. We need to be aware of what's really going on. I may not think of someone as my enemy, but if they think of me as their enemy and they want me dead, I need to be conscious and aware of that so I can respond appropriately.
Rabbi, do you know if the leadership in Iran is divided right now?
I have no idea. There are obviously reports that they are. There are reports that Khamenei is not alive. There's reports that he left the country. There's reports that he's fine. There's reports that he's disfigured. There's reports that the IRGC is in charge, that certain clerics are in charge. There's no way to really know, and anyone who hypothesizes really isn't being honest. We don't know. There may be people who know in intelligence, but most of us don't know. Excuse me.
All right, I've been trying to figure out how to ask this question, so forgive me if I bumble it a little bit.
Gary, you're an amazing man. You don't get it. Anything you do is not bumbling.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm trying to figure out Jews worldwide, from the very liberal New York Jew to the Orthodox Jew in Israel. Has this happening in Iran changed their thinking? Are they collectively together now realizing that the enemy's been exposed and something's being done about it?
You didn't fumble the question at all. Look, I wish I could say that every Jew woke up on October 8th, the day after.
Okay.
They didn't. Their heads imploded. It shocked and changed their reality. Remember, 80 to 90% of Jews, just like 80 to 90% of Christians, are two-day-a-year Christians. 80 to 90% of Jews are two-day-a-year Jews. And many of them have given up, as I've discussed before, they've given up their theology to convert not to another religion, but to secular leftism. For those people, their heads imploded on October 8th, the day after. How could this be? How can this be happening? But rather than change their consciousness, for many of them, they just went back to where they were within 2 or 3 months. It's people put it in the rearview mirror because it's hard to integrate what happened on October 7th. But I will never forget that day, and I hope no one does. That's why I write an email every single day except for Shabbat, the Sabbath, that goes out to a few thousand people about what's really going on in the Middle East, because I think we should all be talking about it. We need to be aware of it. And people want to put it in the rearview mirror because that's easier to put it in a closet than it is to deal with the fact that their entire worldview is upside down. So sadly, 43% of New York Jews under the age of 30 voted for Mondami, and 30% of all Jews in New York voted for Mondami.
I'm just trying to, in my brain, trying to figure out how do you go from 9/11 to Mondami?
It is the chicken vote for Colonel Sanders. That's really what it is. And we have lost the war of public relations. We have lost that whole conflict. The alliance that's been very smartly done by the Islamic jihadists is to ally themselves with democratic socialists, with far-left causes, with all these things. I mean, really think about it. When you see a sign that says gays for Palestine, when if they went to any of these Arab nations, they would be beheaded, as opposed to Israel as an inclusive society. When you see that sign in those groups, it's craziness. It literally is the chicken calling, voting for Colonel Sanders. Yet it's what you see over and over in these colleges and in these different places. Bernie Sanders would be killed in any Arab country. It doesn't matter if he's not a practicing Jew. His mother was Jewish. He would be killed. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Wow. Wow.
AOC would live in a hijab, which might be better for all of us. But you see, no, she would be. That's where she would be.
What's your take of Mondani wanting to kill the prime minister? Or arrest him, I guess, first. Arrest him first, but eliminate him second. Look,
Mondami is on the show The Rabbi's Table that I do. I had Tommy Robinson as a guest. I don't know if you know Tommy or not.
Right.
He made a great comment. Mondami is a Muslim first, second, and third. He's not a socialist. He is a Muslim in a socialist sheep's clothing.
Okay.
You can tell that by, if he was really a socialist, he would care about the people that are being flooded. He'd care about the people that were suffering in the snow. He doesn't. His whole goal is to destroy New York as we know it, and with that, destroy the financial capital of this nation, and with that, destroy Western civilization. That's who he is and what he is.
Okay.
It's that simple.
All right.
Bad guy.
Mind-boggling. Let me take a quick break. Check out the Rabbi's website, RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. There's a picture of the landing page. Sign up for his e-blast, and that is RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Such an honor to have back with us today Rabbi Michael Barclay. His website is RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. I would certainly encourage you to check that out and become a part of his e-blast and the things that he puts out there. Rabbi, another tough question. Let me paraphrase it. In the past, during all of this exchange in the Middle East, the presidents basically said to the prime minister, stand down or sit down. And I don't know how that's being thought and played out, but I guess it does produce a question. At what point, if America doesn't finish the job, will Israel finish the job?
I think and pray that the answer is unquestionably yes. Israel's made it clear that if the slightest piece of shrapnel falls on Israeli ground, they're going after Iran full board.
Okay.
We don't know the relationship between Bibi and Trump, and I don't buy that anyone can make either of those two men do anything they don't want to do.
Okay. So, thank you. Great answer. The other part of this question is difficult to ask because it's in the news, and I'm going to get pushback on it, but you're my guest today, and you're the man.
I'm not sure how to take that.
You already kind of commented on it. So what's with Vice President J.D. Vance, Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson?
Perry, you may or may not know this. I was actually the first person to call out both Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson in writing as anti-Semites almost 3 years ago, which everyone said, you're crazy. They're not. I got canceled. I got I received hundreds of death threats, thousands of pieces of hate mail from their fans, and it's been proven to be true in both their cases. Rather than go with Megyn Kelly, who I think is vacuous, as I think Tucker Carlson is, I think most of these people aren't really intelligent. They have great writers they've worked with in the past. I think what's important is J.D. Vance. And it seems pretty clear from the outside, at least, that Vice President Vance really wants to become president. Remember, this is a guy who's never Trumper. This is the guy who said he'd vote for Clinton over Trump. There's lots of video on that. He wants to be president. And I think he has decided that his pathway to the presidency is through Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and the Groypers and the anti-Semites and the people filled with hate. So I don't know what's in J.D. Vance's heart. I hope it's only good. But he has chosen to side and be a mouthpiece, a voice for those people. You know, he's very close with Tucker. He had employed Tucker's son for many years. And I think it's, sadly, it seems as if it's just an issue of politics. He thinks that's his pathway to the White House, and he has no issue in abandoning ethics or anything else in order to get to that White House, which is very scary to me.
I guess I'm trying to figure out what happened to these people. At one point, they were very solid conservatives, and then all of a sudden, these little bits and pieces fall off their wagon, so to speak, and you kind of go, what's going on?
I don't know that they were ever conservatives. Candace Owens started as a liberal. She learned about branding, working at a magazine, and then came out suddenly. She was the one young black female conservative, when she was being monitored by other companies, and she was embraced by the conservative movement, by Rager, by Shapiro, by the different people. When she found a bigger sugar daddy, for lack of a better term, with her current husband, who's the son of a billionaire, she suddenly sided with whatever his politics are, and he's very close with the Tate brothers, an example, who have just been arrested. Tucker Carlson was monitored very clearly. There are many concerns. I understand that Rush Limbaugh said never trust Tucker, but Tucker was monitored at Fox very, very carefully, what he could and couldn't say. Went off on his own. His original company was paid for in a majority part by Pakistani investors, and suddenly he is off on this world too. So I don't know that media personalities are typically committed to politics.
How is the Jewish resolve in America, and how is the Jewish resolve in Israel?
I just got back from Israel, and you can see on my face how happy it was to be home, because I think that is our home. I live here, but my heart is always in Israel. In Israel, they're living life. They are living life with an existential threat around them, realizing they will do what they need to do, and there's a very positive attitude. In America, the Jewish community, as it always is divided. It's why we say 2 Jews equals 3 rabbis, 4 opinions, and 5 synagogues. So, the Jewish opinion is always very divided here between basically secular and then more observant. But in Israel, there's a real cohesion, and they're for all what the media portrays Israel, it's not accurate. There is a joy there, a joy of life. If you look at the Tel Aviv beach, they're jogging at 5 in the morning. There's hundreds of people, and they're all day playing volleyball until 1 in the morning. So I think that there is a cohesion with that. In the United States, American Jews have never been cohesive. So I don't think that's changed.
Christian history, American Christian history will certainly tell you about the Judeo-Christian foundation of all of this. We just celebrated 250 years as Americans, and the Judeo-Christian part of that heritage is very significant. Your heart's in Israel, your citizenship's in America. How do you manage that?
With great difficulty. The Rebbe of Chabad, who died a number of years ago, Schneerson, said he had many opportunities to go to Israel. He didn't go because he said, if I go, I'm going to want to stay. When I'm in Israel, there's a different way of breathing. there isn't anti-Semitism, which I am conscious of, and even if I wasn't conscious, I'd be aware of it unconsciously. My dedication is to America, and my soul part of it is always in Israel. I feel torn most of the time, Perry, quite honestly, because my soul and my spiritual home is there, and this is where I don't have any desire to move to Israel. This is the country that I serve. These are the people that I serve. This is the choice of where I want to be and the place that I want to give all of my effort to make a better place, which specifically America and specifically California, Southern California. But there's a part of my soul that is always, always in that land where King David walked and Jesus walked. Mm-hmm. Always.
Do you sense a greater connection with the Christian base in America, or is it weakening?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I've said this a lot, and I'll say it till the end of my days. I am closer and have a better relationship and more simpatico and more in common with a pastor like Jack Hibbs or Rob McCoy than I do with a secular Jew or secular rabbi.
Okay.
These are my brothers. We share the same theology. Yeah, there's this little difference about whether we believe, what our beliefs about Jesus are, but basically we're the same guys. And I love the Christian community with all of my heart. It's why when my friend Rob's church was being attacked, I was the first one standing with him, for staying open during COVID. So, to me, the Christian community is, as I say, I'm closer with Christians who've accepted Christ into their heart and with pastors than I am with many rabbis or Jews.
That's quite a statement.
It's a blessing. Yeah.
Do you think that we understand God's covenant with the land of Israel, the nation of Israel?
That's such a great question. I was just discussing this with someone yesterday.
I got about a minute. Go.
The land has its own consciousness, and God made a covenant with the land and the people. And the land does have its own consciousness. Look at the last verses of the book of Deuteronomy. It sings to us, we sing to it, and there is a simpatico, and we need to keep that relationship alive, vibrant, with Jews, with Christians, and with God.
Yeah. Because right now, Israel's about a third of its original real estate contract with God. It's only about a third of its size.
God keeps his contracts.
Yes, he does.
He's not around. He keeps his deals.
Yeah. How are you praying these days?
As often as I can. Hopefully with every moment. That's why you go. Maybe that's why I love Israel. You feel like you're in a prayerful moment every moment, just walking on the stones.
Good for you. Good for you. Let me say to our viewers and listeners a couple things here. You can go to the rabbi's website, RabbiMichaelBarclay.com. That's the picture of the website there. Of course, you can check out his writings there for the Jewish Journal, and check out his book, Sacred Relationships, Biblical Wisdom for Deepening Our Lives Together. There's a picture of the cover of that book on the screen. And check out his podcast, The Rabbi's Table, Dialogue, Not Debate. And all that's available at the normal podcast sites. Thank you, friend. Good to see you. God bless you. And
God bless you, Perry. Thank you for all you and Dove do. And God bless you and your family and your audience in every good way.
Thank you, friend. Stay connected. Good to see you.
You too. Take care.